In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to delete a pivottable in Excel. Sometimes you create a pivot table to explore data, and later you decide you no longer need it. When that happens, it is important to remove the pivot table cleanly, so your worksheet does not stay cluttered with old summaries. Let us go through the process, step by step, at a comfortable pace. To begin, look at your worksheet and locate the pivot table layout area. This is usually the grid area that shows row labels, column labels, and the data values. Click any cell inside that pivot table layout area. The reason for this first click is simple. Excel needs to recognize that you are working with the pivot table, and this activates the correct tools and tabs for the pivot table on the ribbon. Next, you will clear out the pivot table fields. With your cursor still active in the pivot table, press Alt+A on your keyboard. Then, without moving away, press C. This keyboard shortcut clears the pivot table fields, which helps remove the pivot table content from the report. Take a moment to watch the pivot table area as you do this. You should notice that the fields are cleared and the pivot table display becomes empty or loses its structure. Now that the pivot table fields are cleared, you will move to the ribbon to finish the removal. At the top of the Excel window, find the Pivot Table Analyze tab. Click Pivot Table Analyze on the top ribbon menu. This tab is specifically designed for working with pivot tables, including layout tools and selection options. Choosing the correct tab ensures you can target the entire pivot table properly. Once you are on Pivot Table Analyze, look for the Actions group. In that Actions group, you will see a control called Select. Click Select and then choose Entire Pivot Table. Selecting the entire pivot table matters because it ensures Excel highlights everything that makes up the pivot table report, not just a portion of it. When you do this correctly, the entire pivot table area on the sheet should become selected, making it clear that Excel is ready to delete it. After the entire pivot table is selected, you are ready for the final deletion step. Press the Delete key on your keyboard. This removes the pivot table completely from the worksheet. You should see the pivot table disappear right away, leaving your sheet cleaner and ready for whatever you want to build next. If you want to confirm everything is gone, simply look at the area where the pivot table used to be. There should be no pivot table grid, no row or column labels, and no data values remaining. In many cases, it also helps to click elsewhere on the sheet to ensure nothing else is selected accidentally. That covers everything you need to know, and that is all there is to it.